Hey, today is May 11th. It's a Tuesday, I believe. Yeah, it's a Tuesday. I took one trade and one trade only, and that trade was on AMD. It was a small winning trade. Just going over my trading in general today, it was, in my opinion, fantastic. I avoided a shit ton of fake outs. I knew when to trade, when not to trade. I understood market context really well. My emotions were completely in check, even though I did size up. Uh, in terms of contract wise, yes, I did size up, but in terms of equity and the amount of money and percentage of my account I played, it was relatively the same. But it was a little bit different sizing up, and I'll talk about that later. But uh, I did take AMD, so let's start with the higher time frame analysis. I'm just gonna draw this. Okay, so on a daily time frame, um, just looking left, you can see that $74 on AMD is it's a critical level of support. I can just say 74 and make this a dotted line so it's a little bit easier to see. Just, am I recording? I'm always paranoid if I record or not. Okay, I am. Okay, so $74 is a critical area of support for AMD. And um, I'm not gonna lie, going into the morning, I was bearish because AMD has been beaten down on the daily chart, breaking below the 74 key level of support um, until what June, oh no, July 29th is when we've been trading in this range. So for practically a year, we haven't been able to get below and close below 74. So I know a move below 74 is going to cause an explosive move lower. That's not the case, and let me go down to an intraday chart. So higher time frame analysis, we do look bearish, but things can quickly change when you go down to an intraday chart. Let me pull up ES and let me pull up NQ. Okay, so let's go to let's go down to an intraday chart, and you can see right off of the morning, AMD had a massive move from 72.75, so below the 74 key level, all the way to a 75.56, so a $3 move. They were all green candles, so super bullish momentum. And what did ES do? ES's first candle was red. We did eventually move up, but we did have red candles in between. So this is what you call a healthy move up. Same thing with NQ. NQ was a bit stronger than ES, which I liked because AMD is a tech stock. But NQ, pretty normal price action to the upside. We're moving up. We have red candles, and then we eventually break the high of the red candles and move higher. But AMD, it was a very strong move. No green candles compared to ES and NQ. Super bullish move. You can see that. AMD closed green while ES and NQ closed red. So just off of the first 20-30 minutes, I know that AMD has clear relative strength to the market. And this is what I talk about. My main strategy revolves around finding relative strength and weakness, and then looking at context and putting a plan and executing. So that's the first step. I found that AMD had clear relative strength to the market. So now, looking at the near supply, we have 45-minute supply, which acted pretty well. We did eventually break it last candle of the day, but I think the market, no, market's closed. My bad. But 45-minute supply, so in somewhere around here, we definitely have room to run higher. Not a significant amount, but this is definitely a good target. 45-minute supply. We didn't have immediate supply above, and now I'm looking for some type of long opportunity. So just pulling up the key levels. Um, we were choppy in this area. AMD has a more fake out type of personality. We did fake out at 1020. I didn't like it because ES rejected supply and was heading lower. Same thing with NQ. And then yeah, so we were just choppy in this area. And instead of NQ, I'm actually gonna go to, or actually I'll do that later. But yeah, AMD has a fakey type of personality, but where I saw a key level was at $76 hold. I like using hold dollars because you know uh I like using hold dollars because a lot of traders look at them. I don't really like to get confused with all of the decimals, but $76. Let me just highlight that. So $76 is a key. It's a key. It's a key level, and you can see that $76 acted as support a couple of times in the past. This is just in the immediate past, but it must have held as support and resistance. In It must have held as support and resistance quite a long time ago as well. So it held as support here, and then three times it held as support. I'm just gonna use one big yellow circle to denounce this, but $76 held. You can clearly see that. So $76 is a key area um of resistance now because we are below it. We didn't find support exactly at 76, but just this entire area is now resistance. So my plan was essentially to take a break of this 76 key level, targeting 45-minute supply. So what were my confirmations? My first confirmation was clear relative strength. I already talked about that. Second confirmation is while volume doesn't look the best, I mean, if you compare it to previous, no, let me go to maybe 5 day, 5 minute. No, okay. So volume, it's not the best. But when I did take the 76 key level break, you can clearly see that volume is increasing towards the break. I always talk about this. I always want to see volume increase towards the break. And even though volume was a little bit lower, to me this is still it's still consistent volume. To me, bad volume would be like 1230 to like 10 or 1340 or 140. Just because this is significantly decreased volume, but here we are increasing. Volume is a little bit lower, but it's still pretty consistent. It's not a huge thing to worry about. So we did have volume. Third thing was 45-minute supply acted as a magnet. So that's our third confirmation. Fourth confirmation was actually it was actually on NQ. And okay, so going into the morning, you can remove this supply, we invalidated it. You can even remove this 30-minute supply because we wicked above it. And then eventually we broke it later. But I entered right at 11:15, and I'm still going through the confirmations. But you can see that if you go to QQQ, Dylan talked about this, but 323 was a key resistance area which tech equities and QQQ had a hard time getting above. So just this level, 323, and you can see that at 11:15 where I entered, QQQ was approaching this level and eventually broke it. So breaking and closing above the 323 key level on QQQ could definitely fuel a move higher on AMD, and that's exactly what happened. We had a nice bullish close above 323, so that is my fourth confirmation. And finally, a fifth confirmation was actually VIX. So 22.6 was a key area of support and resistance. And that's why I love using support and resistance, because they work out so well. They tell you and they complete the entire story. But I had entered at 11:15 again, and this is perfect support and resistance. We find support here in pre-market, open up, we find support. We eventually break through this area of resistance. Sorry, I meant to say resistance here. But we break through this area of resistance at 1025, and yes, AMD did hold value fairly well. But if you look at like ES, for example, ES crashed while AMD held value, so that's actually another confirmation. But VIX will always inverse ES, and VIX will always inverse NQ. So as VIX starts moving higher, ES and NQ move lower, and that's just healthy price action. We come back at 10:55, and guess where we find support now? 22.6. We barely close. We barely have a 5-minute close below 22.6. Come back up. We start coming down, and then what I liked about AMD even more is when I had entered, VIX had closed above 22.6. So that was my fifth confirmation for this trade. So this is what I mean when I take high quality setups. when everything aligns like this, I'm not going to hesitate at all. I'm going to take the trade. So 5 confirmations, just went over them. Just going over entries and exits because AMD has a fakey personality. I really wanted us to get significantly above high day. This was any other equity, I probably would have entered before high day and before this key level to really maximize the premium spike. But you know, AMD has a fakey personality, so I really waited for us to close and get above high day, and I was really hoping to capitalize on the premium spike for the 76 key level break. So I did enter as soon as this candle closed. I was down on the position a little bit, wasn't worried. You know, my stop is always a 5-minute candle close above previous high day, which should now act as support, and that's exactly what happens. We break through 76. Keep in mind, I am playing 8 contracts. They are very, very cheap though. So, you know, I mean, 8 contracts to me sounds a bit scary, but, they were like $1.20 a piece. So I did scale out 3 right here. We had a nice move up. I actually held through this because we looked for a 5-minute RB and R holding the 76 key level, but when this RB and R pattern failed, I had actually exited another 2 of my contract. So at this point, I'm not up nicely, I would say. It is still a nice winner, but I just wanted to protect myself because what is QQQ doing? Or let me go to NQ. NQ is having these nice bullish green candles, and if AMD is relatively strong, then AMD should have more explosive moves than NQ because you know that's what relative strength means. But AMD actually wasn't doing that. What AMD was doing was it was chopping around in this area while NQ was moving higher. So when NQ hit 2-hour supply at 11:35, I knew this trade really wasn't gonna work out. It did work out, but this was way too choppy. I'm more of a momentum breakout type of person, and this to me is just chop. But ultimately, you know, whenever I'm green on a trade, I always make my stop break even. It's just a really, really simple rule to protect myself. So I ultimately did end up selling on this lower wick right here when my contracts were back at break even. And the reason why this is break even is because I actually got filled just a little bit late. So nothing to be concerned about. This was definitely a good trade. I've seen trades like these work out where I'd scale 3 here, I'd scale 3 here, and then I would scale like 3 at my final target, and those would be like the nice $400, $500 winners, which I was hoping for, but ultimately I couldn't get that. When I end the video, I felt like I wasn't too clear with my words today. I was rambling for a bit, but you know, you get the point. Talked about the confirmation, entries, exits, support and resistance, and what I saw. So hopefully this video can be of some benefit to you. And I will be back to trade tomorrow, where hopefully we get some follow through.